Hello, fifth grade. Today's learning target is I can plan for an argumentative paragraph by using an organizer. Yesterday, we started reading Brave Girl and found evidence to support our claims about the character. Many fifth graders said that the bosses of the factories were mean, cruel, and unkind. You cited evidence to support those claims. Today, you are going to practice writing your claim and evidence into a paragraph organizer. We're still in the pre-writing stage because we're going to be using an organizer to just put bullet points. We're not actually going to get to the drafting of the paragraph. So what is an argumentative paragraph? We all know that a paragraph has many sentences, usually 4 or 5 sentences. But I want to show you exactly what a paragraph, when we're writing an argumentative paragraph, what it looks like. It has 4 parts to it. The first part is a topic sentence that states your claim. The second part is evidence from the text that supports your claim. The third part is you explain your evidence in 1 or 2 sentences. And then finally, you have a concluding sentence. So in all, it becomes about 4 to 5 sentences, maybe 6, depending on how many pieces of evidence you want to find. So I'm going to show you how I use a graphic organizer to do each part, so you get familiar about what I mean about each part. So today, you're going to get a paragraph template. And this is what you're going to do in Otis. The first sentence says, make a claim about a character or characters in the book. So I talked about Clara, and I'm going to go back to my graphic organizer, and I said Clara was determined. I also thought and added proactive, right? She went and she takes charge and does things without anyone telling her. But so any of those words, I'm going to keep going with determined. So I'm going to say in the book, blah, blah, blah. This is just there for you for when we draft. In the book, the main character, Clara, is a determined young girl. That's my claim. That's what I'm going to prove, right? I'm going to prove that she is determined with evidence that I also found. So these transition words, for example, for instance, in fact, now I'm going to give my examples. So I said, she thinks what she is doing is wrong. She thinks what she is doing is wrong. And that was on page. You always want to give your evidence. You want to state your page. That was on page 4. The next piece of evidence, now I can go like this and add a bullet just to show. The next piece of evidence I said is instead of going to school, she goes to work in a factory. Instead of going to school, she goes to work in a factory. And that was on page 4 as well. Finally, she walks to the library even after working long hours. She works in the library even after working long hours. And that was on page 8. Page 8. I just say PG8. Okay. Just so you know, when you have these graphic organizers, you can push them up. You can actually put yours here and then press backspace just to make it smaller. So now my next part of my paragraph is my explanation. It's a thought from your head that supports the evidence. It tells the reader what your evidence means. It's in your own words. So it's kind of like starting this sentence with, this is important because, this shows that, therefore. So when I think about it, I want to explain how this evidence shows that she's determined. And for me, when I think about it, the big deal is that Clara's a young lady. She is a young girl. She should be in school studying. But instead, she's doing something else, right? She's working because she has to take care of her family. Her dad can't work. That's really why she's determined. So I want to explain that in my own words. So this is important because, and then I'm going to continue. Clara is a young girl who should be in school getting an education. Instead, she is determined to help her family and work in a factory with terrible working conditions, right? That shows she's determined. Someone who wasn't determined wouldn't work. They wouldn't go to work with all those really terrible conditions. When I say conditions, I mean how they treat her in the factory, the condition in that which she works, which we know um, it was long hours. She didn't eat. It was hot. It was crowded. They would yell at her. They would tell her to hurry up. Right? These are not good working conditions. So that's what I'm saying there. That's it. I explained why this evidence shows that she's determined. Now, in this last sentence is your concluding sentence. It wraps up the paragraph, right? It leaves the reader with something to remember. Just for this paragraph, for this template or organizer, you don't need to really, you just need to give me one sentence. So you can start it with in conclusion, as a result, in summary, this is why. I'm going to continue one of those and I'm going to say, Clara is a determined girl who does what she needs to do to serve to survive, or I could say for her family to survive and for her family. I'll just say both then. Okay? That's it. That's all I need to write to organize my paragraph. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how I take all of this information and actually draft a real paragraph. I want you now to think about your claim and the evidence from the text that you found yesterday. What was your claim about the factory owners or Clara's bosses? Some of you said they were cruel. Some of you said they were mean. They were terrible humans. Some of you said they were taking advantage of the young girls. So, right, of the young women working. So I want you to just kind of remember it and then think again, what was your evidence? Go ahead and share out if you are in virtual with a if you're virtual with a teacher, go ahead and just share out your claim from yesterday. Okay, maybe you didn't do yesterday's assignment, so this will give you an idea of what you can write about today. Okay, so for independent work, you're going to go on Otis and start your independent work. The pages we read from the book are included in the Otis assignment if you want to reread the parts from yesterday. Tomorrow, we will move on to using this information to go on to the next step in the writing process, which is drafting. Now that I modeled how to use this tool, the graphic organizer template, I want you to think where you fall in the fist to five. You can write it in the chat box or just kind of think about it to yourself. If you feel you are a 0, 1, or 2, re-watch this video and pay close attention. Try your best. Sometimes writing can seem a little hard, but when we stop and just take our time, we see it's not as hard as we think. Good luck.